Of course, nobody believes in snuff films. It's just too sick to be real, right? Nobody in their right mind would actively publish evidence against them like that, let alone make money off it. Al Goldstein, publisher of Screw magazine, has a standing offer of $1 million for the one who can find a real commercially sold snuff movie. The offer has been in place for years, and nobody has claimed it, and for good reason. I mean, you don't buy a carton of cigarettes and then sell it for half a third of the price, do you? That would just be shoddy vending. Besides, as far as I know, nobody has ever taken one of these films home, seeing as they aren't sold as everybody thinks. There's too much of a risk with that, you see. You pay to view a screening of it, just like in a normal theatre. Nobody ever held a copy of these films, except of course for the few people who make money off them. As far as I know, the only all male, actually the only females involved in these movies are the victims. Not all movies, of course, contain rape or sex of any kind, but it's not uncommon, especially with a few starring children as victims. This all may sound a bit odd to you, but of course it does. It involves something that just can't exist, right? It is, so very hard to get to attend one of these screenings. You need to be invited, and everyone who's ever been invited has been invited by personal mail. Now, that's not the post office. It's a letter which is dropped into your mailbox with no return address. More about these letters. Apparently they're drenched in some chemical that makes the paper dissolve after a certain amount of time outside the envelope, possibly in contact with air light. I don't know. I've spent literally hours, days maybe, researching what type of chemical this could be, but modern chemistry just doesn't know a chemical like this. More research will need to be done. All I know is that these people are clever. They take measures. They're clever and dangerous. If they knew who I am, they'd surely kill me. Maybe even make me into a movie star. Then I'd be shown in their little cinema. It's quite a dark place, seeing as the only lights are candles situated around the screening room. The entrance to a snuff cinema is that of a decrepit old factory, reminiscent of a slaughterhouse. The letter will have some sort of instructions on how to get in. The projector itself apparently hooked to a recently bought DVD player. Technology, as you can see, isn't a must for these fans. Anyway, this DVD player is powered by a car battery. You can't get electricity in the places where these are screened. Obviously, they've been disused, decrepit, old, as I've just said. I've been told by my dad. My dad actually knows a lot about these things here, and I'm doing apprentice work with him for my job, so we spend a lot of time together. So anyway, he said that back in the 30s, the projector was powered by a small gas engine. Small gas engine. Have I heard that before? Moving on. The chairs are on the same old tables that were once used as slaughter benches. As soon as the screening is over, all the guests, maximum 10 or so of course, are threatened to leave immediately through 3 different exits, with 30-minute intervals between the groups. The exits are different from the entrance, as they lead to underground tunnels, probably old sewers. They lead to back alleys in different parts of the city. The crew, i.e. the people with the films, quickly vanish, probably through a 4th exit, which, even though many of the viewers have looked, they can't seem to find. If you, however, manage to find a screening room after a screening, you wouldn't know it was ever used for anything like that. It just looks like a walk-in freezer with white walls. However, there are meat hooks still in the ceiling, and of course, the tables, still with obvious marks of old dried in blood. There are about 120 movies. 120 movies you can view in this one cinema, and there are definitely more throughout the world with their own movies. Each movie is categorized by victim, method of killing, whenever sex is involved, and wherever it takes place, pre or post-mortem, and by the level of brutality. At least one film is of a young blonde woman being choked to death while performing an unwilling blowjob. Another of a young child being cut open while drugged just enough to not move, but enough to still audibly and visibly be awake. Yet another is of a man hung upside down on a meat hook, then having his testicles removed with a machete and force-fed them before he dies of blood loss. I could go on and on about these movies, as I saw a good portion of them. Why not? I'm young and stupid and I have money for it. The glorious film I've seen was that of a middle-aged, dark-haired woman having her hands, feet, arms and legs amputated while drugged and sewn crudely back on at the wrong extremities. The next cut, excuse the pun, showed her wriggle in terror. She tried standing up on her arm feet until she collapsed and vomited. A door behind her opens, and a male figure swings an aluminium bat at her head. On impact, the head bent and she let out a gurgling cry before going limp and silent. The angle of the camera changed and the man hit her head again, this time bursting and open with debris of brain matter. Crying child. The actress's son was then shown eating her eyes. While I was in the audience, I thought to myself, what sick fuck could come up with something like this? So I stood up, I walked to the front, I turned round to face them, and I bowed. Why, you may ask? Well, it was the most satisfying movie I've ever made.